When you stand for less game, you fall for all traps. Never give big, trusted bitches with small traps. Some of these bitches be having some nice drag, but access to your pimpin' should never have a price tag. Gambling with the game like you at the talking sticks. But when this bitch see you, all she see is a walking lick. Somebody gon' fuck around and get killed when this thotty had them jackers at your tilt. Let's go.
Bitch, you want all this pimpin' you can't afford. Perform like a punk, but wanna win his reward. Some suckers give you points, but bitch, you never scored. If you ain't paying pimpin', then bitch, you getting ignored.
Okay.
I'm so sick of these.
This game ain't always rosy, man. I done did a whole lot of mispimping. I wasn't always gamed up. I wasn't always wise. I wasn't always sharp. I done did some dumb shit, some green shit, some, you know, I done made some mistakes in this motherfucking game, right? So one time, I knocked this little bitch in Vegas. Now I had the bitch once before, but I only had the first time I had her, I only had her for like maybe a day and a half. So fast forward a couple months later, I see the bitch again downtown Las Vegas, near the Greyhound station by the plaza. You know, I get at the bitch, she end up wanting to come fuck with me, so bitch give me a little money and I bring her back to where I was staying at, which at that time was the Harbor Islands. You know what I mean? For those of y'all unfamiliar, the Harbor Islands is an infamous weekly apartment complex in Las Vegas, right? You know, it's not, you know, at least at that time, it wasn't really the most prestigious place to stay. You dig? It was kind of like on some hood shit a little bit, right? So I bring her to my joint at the Harbor Islands. Send her out the door the first night, she come back in with the trap, everything cool. Send her out the door the second night, she come back in with the trap, everything cool. The third night, I send her out the door at about 9 p.m. I go out the door myself at about midnight. I stay down all night, I campaign, you know, fuck with the pimpin', you know, regular pimp night in the town, right? So, top of the morning, it's about either 8 or 9 o'clock, right? I had a bitch in jail that I went to go visit. So I go visit with the bitch. Now the bitch who was down, I hadn't talked to her since, you know, earlier in the night or whatever. So I go visit the bitch in jail, which is downtown, which, you know, the Harbor Islands is close to the strip, just east of the strip. So I go downtown to the jail, visit the bitch in jail, go back to the Harbor Islands. Now when I walk up to my door of the place where I'm staying at, it's a big ass Chuck Taylor footprint on my door, right? I'm talking about, it looked like this, whoever kicked this motherfucking door, whoever this Chuck Taylor footprint is from, the motherfuckers had some feet like Thumper on Bambi, you know what I mean? Had a big ass Shaq foot, you know, this motherfucker had a big ass foot. You know, Chucks run kind of big anyway, but this motherfucker has some big ass Chucks. So it's a big ass Chuck Taylor footprint on my door, right? One footprint. And the door is kind of like sitting open a little bit. It's like cracked open, right? The bitch ain't got a key to the joint, for one. And then two, you know, you ain't gonna use the key and a Chuck Taylor at the same time. You gonna use one or the other. These motherfuckers got in with the Chucks. So I'm like, damn, it's at this time, it's about 10 in the morning when I get there, right? I go in, you know, anything that I had of value was gone. I had a digital camera, that was gone, which I was mad about because I had some good pimp memories in that motherfucker. You know, that was the thing I was most upset about, because that was the thing that had shit in it that was irreplaceable. Everything else was replaceable. But that camera, man, I'm still to this day mad about that, because there's some good pimp memories on that camera. But my digital camera was gone. You know, I'm staying at the Harbor Islands, man, and you know, I'm in between bitches dealing with fly-by-nights like this particular bitch, and you know, I'm trying to pimp up, you know. So I didn't have a whole lot in there, but the little things that I had of value, they took out of there. They were so grimy. They even took the dirty suits that I had that needed to go to the cleaners. I had my suits all in a bag, you know, and I had some, you know, some clean shit that was hanging up. They took everything, all of my clothes. These motherfuckers took my clothes, which was crazy to me, right? So now, fortunately, I was suited and booted at the time. So, man, that's a whole nother video, right? But just to give y'all a little idea of what was in store for me after that, man, I was down in that same fucking suit every day for like a month straight until I knocked something else, right? But like I said, that's a whole nother video. But the moral of this story is that I gave this bitch too much access too soon, right? And you know, she ended up having some goons come to my joint and kick my door in and take my little valuables, which was crazy to me because the bitch had been in there. She seen that I didn't have like a whole lot of shit. I'm trying to remember, did they take it? I think I had a computer in that motherfucker too that they might have took. I can't remember. You know, it's been like over a decade, well over a decade ago. So, but yeah, I gave the bitch too much access too soon, just based on the fact that she was willing to give me some money. You know, like I said, and I had the bitch before, but even the first time I had the bitch, you know, another bitch that I had at the time brought her home, and she didn't stick around long, you know, so I didn't know the bitch very well from that time. So I should have never allowed the bitch to let the bitch know where I laid my head at, right? And what's crazy is, man, you know, that's why it's good to have good pimp counsel around you. It's good to have good pimp friends and keep good pimp company, right? Because some months before this, I'll never forget, I was with Hot Shot. Shout out to Hot Shot, man. I appreciated Hot Shot for them days because Hot Shot used to drop a lot of game on me. And one night, me and him was chopping it up, and he just came out of nowhere like, yeah, man, Freeze, man, don't ever let no bitch know where you lay your head at, man, when you first knock her, man. You know, until you get to know that bitch, man, don't ever let that bitch know where you lay your head. And I never confirmed it with him. I never talked with him about, you know, where that came from. But just the way that, and I could be wrong, but just the way that he presented it to me, it seemed like he had gone through an experience, you know, along those lines himself. So, but whatever the case, you know, like Sinful always likes to say, warning comes before destruction. That was my warning right there. And then the destruction came because I didn't take heed to the warning, right? So, you know, Pimpin be giving us game a lot of times that, you know, we'll retain it, but we don't take heed to it right away until oftentimes it's too late. So, take heed to these lessons that the pimp giving you right here, though. And before you allow a bitch to know where you lay your head at, take inventory, man, because in my case, what it cost me was, you know, it wasn't very costly, you know, because I still have my life, you know, I still have my health. Nothing happened to me physically in that situation, and ain't no telling what could have happened had I not went to jail to go visit the bitch and it delayed me in getting back to the joint, right? No telling what could have happened if I was there. I imagine somebody would have got hurt. I would have did my best to make sure it wasn't me, but you never know. If I'm just in there kicking it and somebody unexpectedly kicks in my motherfucking door, you never know how that can go, man. And all of that could have been avoided had I not let the bitch know where I laid my head and taken time to get to know this bitch better before I allowed her to see where I laid my head at, right? More important than any of those valuables that was taken out of there is me. If I don't have me, I don't have shit. So you just gotta, like I said, take inventory of who you dealing with, man. Because whatever money that the bitch gave me, it wasn't worth the gamble that I took, which was with myself. You know, it's just fortunate that I didn't crap out that day, but I really was gambling with myself. Just because only thing this bitch proved was that she was willing to hand over a trap. She didn't prove that she was trustworthy. She didn't prove that she was loyal. She didn't prove anything other than she was willing to hand a trap over, right? And who knows, she could have been plotting the whole time, like a lot of bitches do. A partner of mine, he moved this little bitch, right? And same type of situation. He take the bitch straight to his house, and the bitch is in his living room on his couch, and he goes to use the restroom or use his bathroom. When he comes back, he's coming up behind the bitch while she's sitting on the couch, and she got her motherfucking phone like this, and he could see what the bitch was texting somebody, right? Like she was texting somebody, it's over here. Like she was getting the details of what was in the house and giving the location of where the house was. Now fortunately Pimpin was able to peep that and get to the bottom of it and, defuse the situation before it turned ugly. But that's just another example. Now, in that case, come to find out, after the fact, that particular bitch was like a setup artist with the pimping. And she had set some pimping up before to get robbed in that same fashion. It was just a blessing that in this particular case, Pimpin was able to catch the shit before it, exploded. So, again, in that case, Pimpin should have took better inventory of the bitch before he allowed the bitch to know where he laid his head at. And it could have been very costly, but fortunately for the Pimpin, it wasn't. So, like I say, don't trust a big butt in a bankroll. Don't think that just because this bitch is willing to give you some money that she's cool. She might be playing for something herself and trying to, like Sinful likes to say, charm and disarm your motherfucking ass with a bankroll just to get up next to you and take something from you that's more valuable than the bankroll that she gave you. Don't allow yourself to get played. Value yourself. Value the things that you have going on. Value the things that you pimped for. Value the hoes that's fucking with you. And when you keep your value in mind, that'll prompt you to make a bitch prove herself before you allow her access to certain dimensions of your pimping. Let that marinate on your mind one time. Freeze the sit. Of course, put some of this good old love juice in your body like so. I'll holla.
Now come and take a sip of this game. Pour it down your ear and let it drip to your brain so you can run it up. And we'll be coming up. Really coming up. Take a sip of this game, let it saturate your brain. Taylor make your home so we can match it with my name. Then attach it to your frame, right? Now you game tight. Ready, set, ho. You gon' check her back the same night. Now you breaking tricks and handling thousands. While these bitches on the blade doing the mannequin challenge. Standing there looking stupid cause they has no game to hit a trick with, bitch, and that's so lame. Now come and take a sip of